in 3, 2,
Yeah.
1.
All right.
And welcome back
To the Soccer Life Mastery.
podcast part 2 now with our mate AJ.
With our man AJ. Last
my
episode
gosh.
was awesome.
It
I was a
pretty
big
cool.
fan. We learned a lot
That
of
was like
things.
last week. Once again. It was 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, we're still with them anyways. But yeah, AJ. Yeah, do you have any...
Yeah, I do actually. So I was just thinking like pretty much the same thing we normally keep saying. So you're born in the UK, so it's such a beautiful place for you to start your career as a soccer coach or like soccer player or like whatever. And then how did you came up with the idea? Like why did you came to Australia? Like now in the US. So you kind of like mentioned that before, but like can you just go through like, okay, why not just stick in England and then just try to do like everything in there? As it's like a really nice place to start your career.
Yeah, so for me, as you guys know, England, it's the best place in the world to play football. It's the best place in the world, and it's the hardest. I'm English, and it's hard to play. It's hard for an Englishman to play at a decent enough level in England. So for me, I've always said this to everybody that I've met. I wasn't always the best player. I wasn't always the most technical, but I worked my back end off. And when I mean that, I did more than anybody. I ran more than anybody. I was in the gym more than anybody. Worked after training, before training more than anybody. And it got to the point where that really started to affect me as in like, I want to play. I know I'm good enough. I know I work hard enough. I want to play. So for me, I had a friend that I met in the US called Alex Clark. Carl knows Alex.
I'm gonna get him on the podcast, man.
Yeah, it'd be great for the kids, great. And yeah, he was playing over in Australia for Vipers, where me and Carl played together. And I spoke to the coach and spoke to some of the players and the staff, and yeah, we made it happen, and that's kind of the reason. That's how I got to Australia first and foremost, to really just continue playing and just enjoy my football and play again in another country, somewhere new, somewhere where the football's different, and just try and get as much experience as possible under my belt in a different country.
Yeah. So one of the things that he just mentioned that I keep saying to my kids all the time, like for example, okay, if you don't consider yourself like the best player, so how are you gonna become like one of the first 11? How are you gonna start? You need to dedicate. You need to go to the gym more, as he said. And I think that was literally one of your frustration as well, because like your mates were like hanging out and everything. And so we say in the last podcast episode. So okay, everyone was doing like whatever. You're totally focused, and then you got the injury, and that's the reason you got like devastated later on. But I'm telling you guys, for me now as a coach, and for you as well, I believe, okay, this guy has some skills, but this one is a great listener. This one has leadership. This one is committed to the training session all the time. The other one has the skills. Yes, it's important. Yes, but the other one, it's a way much more important. So it's not just about like, okay, you're a really nice and good like soccer player. Yeah, but you're different too. So you're different because you have like a leadership. You're different because you like literally have the commitment to go to the training session, to listen to your coach and do whatever it takes to go there. So you might not be the most skillful one, but you're definitely one of the most important. So that's pretty much like what he's saying, what you did in your career as well.
100%. Like even seeing the players in our academy and things like that, you can see the players that have that mentality who just want to listen and work hard and improve. And then you can see some other players that don't have that mentality. And they even might be a little bit more skillful. But I know there's no chance of them going anywhere, because to get through the ups and downs and to improve and beat the competition of other players wanting your spot and things like, you need the mentality of, okay, how can a growth mindset of how can I improve? How can I get better? I'm not settling for where I am at the moment. I'm not happy with just being in the starting 11. I'm not happy with just being in the state team. It's always next. How can I get better and better? And
because like when they have like the first when they have like the first like guy who just know how to mark them, like the really nice defender, they get frustrated. They don't play the way they should. Like those skillful guys. Yeah. The other ones, they might gonna come to you and say, "Hey coach, I'm trying. What should I do now?" So they might gonna ask for help, because that's the way we kind of like create that kind of player. Yes. and which is a good thing for us. I was like, hey, I know it's not working, so I want you in a different position. But then if you got those skillful guys in a different position, they might not gonna play like the way they should. Because like, okay, I've never been training here because I'm good. I know how to dribble. Yeah, but you're midfielder now, so you need to do different. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, what I see with some players is, players have been always good from birth, so to speak, and they've never gone through any. They've always started. They've always been the better player, and then they want to make the leap to, okay, now you're joining all the better players, and then they go on the bench for maybe one game, or they're not good enough to start off with. They quit straight away.
Yeah.
Because they've never had to go. They've never.
100%. 100%. I think we've all played with players that are very much like that, and as I would say, it's a God gift, right? It's some of those players are God gift. It's a God-given talent. They can do things that I could only dream of, right? It's that's the type of player they are, but it doesn't make you the whole player. It doesn't make you the best player. You need the whole package. And for me, the biggest thing that I got told when I was at young age was you need to be obsessed with what you do. Be obsessed with what you do. Be obsessed with practice. Be obsessed with practicing every single day. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you should think about is, how can I make it? If that's your dream and that's what you want, first thing you got to do when you wake up in the morning is, how can I make it? What do I have to do? Okay, roll out of bed, do 20 push-ups, just say, You have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed with every aspect of it. If you've played a game on a weekend and it isn't your best game, you might not have the facilities or something for your team to video your games, but okay, get one of the guys on the side to video your games. Watch them. That's what I did wrong. I did this wrong. Be obsessed with every aspect of the game. And that's what I was told when I was a very young age, and I kind of just made sure that was the first thing I had in my mind. Be obsessed, be obsessed, be obsessed.
Well, that is why we actually named ourselves Soccer Life Mastery. I made this, 5 years ago. Is because it's not just how I am on the field. It's okay. How well can I sleep? You said every aspect. That's why we're about. Can I improve my sleep? Can I improve my diet? Can I improve the way I recover? Can I improve how athletic I am? Can I improve my technical skills? Can I improve everything? Can I improve my mentality? Can I improve my resilience? It's everything, because it's all the 1%ers. If you're trying to become a 1% player who is, Premier League, you have to do all the 1%ers. If you don't, someone else is, and that guy's going to take your spot. And that's even not, that's without having, the birth given talent, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, if you do have the talent or don't, you still got to do these things. There's no shortcuts. If you don't, you're not going to get to the highest of
100%. And Carl, sorry to start you talking, but I would say, and I'll give the kids a little something that I've kind of picked up as I've got older, and I didn't know this at the very start, but this is something that you guys can do that can really help and propel you to that next level. And what I've picked up is everything is strategy. Everything in this life, in what we do on a day-to-day basis, including football, is strategy. So write it down. Write your goals down on that, and make them small little goals for you to achieve. It's like a ladder. You can't get to that top of that ladder without climbing the rest of the steps. You can't do it. So what you need to do is write every single goal down and focus all your energy on that one goal. And then, once that, tick it off. Literally have a piece of paper where you write these goals down and you can tick it off. Okay, I accomplished that one this week in a game or in training or whatever. And then the next goal, can I tick that one off in 2 weeks? Okay, I ticked it off in 2 weeks. And you know what? You might not be able to tick every single one off. You might not be able to. But look at it in 6 months. Look at that list in 6 months. And I promise you, right now, I promise you, if you've put 20 things on that list, I guaranteed 15 of those things you would have ticked off, because there's 15 things that is non-negotiable. Your hard work, your training, your attitude, to be obsessed with of your practice and past completion, and these are just aspects of the game. But make that list, make the goal list, and tick every single one off day by day.
I think it's
This
a
is-
great
sorry.
point. No, one second. I think it's a great point because I even find players that I train and, 6 months down the track, they think, I don't feel like I'm getting better. But objectively, I know you're getting better. I can see you're getting better. But players, as they get better, their standards get better. So they sometimes think that they're getting worse.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you can look back and say, hey, look, actually, I've completed these goals. I've gotten better and better. I've achieved all these things. Okay, that gives me a relax. I can relax. Okay, I am getting somewhere. I am progressing. Because I think the anxiety comes from not progressing. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I'm still in the same team. I'm still, I haven't made the state team yet or gone to, first team football. And you get the anxiety. But if you can see, hey, look, I've been checking these off. I'm having progression. I am getting somewhere. I think that's very important. Something
Because
that's great to
I
see.
think like one of the issues as well is just because we kind of like look like the improvement like right now. We don't look like with the big picture. So we kind of look, okay, I'm training so hard. So which means like, in a month, I'm going to be one of the first 11. In a month, I'm going to be like so skillful. No, hold on a second. As you said, you're going to tick the boxes. You're going to need to learn. You need to be obsessed. And I keep saying that all the time to my kids when we're doing like the training session. Okay, I just don't get it how like professional soccer players, they're not as good as they should with both feet. Like, okay, come to the left one. Oh, they quickly go to the right one because like they don't know how to use like the left foot properly. So I was telling Kyle, for example, to be natural, like for example, I was telling my kids, hey, try to do everything. So if you're right-hander, like right footer, just try to do everything with the left foot, left hand, like just everything. Just grab like a glass of water, just drink with the left one, just grab the remote control to change the channel with like the left side all the time. But then in the game, pretty much the same thing. Okay, I'm in a training session right now. So in the training session, I need to complete like at least 3 passes with the left foot. It's just an example. In the beginning, you kind of like overthink. In the beginning, you kind of just go like, whoa, my gosh, I'm overthinking. I need to pass the ball all the time with the left foot. But then in a week, in 2 weeks, or in a month, this is natural. You literally become part of like your way to play. You're not thinking anymore, I need to do like 3 passes. I need to kick. And kids, like even like professional players, they don't think about that anymore. So when you see like a professional soccer player who can kick with both feet, then you're like, oh, this guy is amazing. Well, if you think about it, it's not that amazing.
Should be normal.
It's just like a normal. Just think about it.
Yeah.
And they earn like millions and millions. They should, all of them, they should like play like a properly. Okay, come to the left foot. Well, dribble and score. That's it.
Yeah.
No.
So something that's always stuck in my head and like from watching players, right? Like the reason why De Bruyne, these type of players, Grealish and like Salah and Henderson, and the reason why they're so good is because their focus level, and it's not necessarily that they're so much better than other players. It's just their focus level and their focus on messing up is much more higher than say mine or Kyle's or those type of players. The focus level is much more higher. So that being said, how do you make that better? And for me, I would focus on just one aspect. If there was a game, I would make sure within the first 5 minutes of that game, I would complete the first 3 passes. So I'd focus on that first pass. That's what I'd focus on. I'm not worried about number 3. Focus on number 1 first, then number 2, then number 3. And it sounds so simple and sounds so just generic, but it's the most important thing, because then what does that do? That breeds your confidence in the game. That breeds, you step into, you go through them steps, and that's what you're doing by just focusing on number 1, focusing on that first step. So if it's kids, if it's my any advice, and the guys will back me up here, it's just focus on every single detail in front of you, every single detail.
Yeah, that's what makes you different. And for example, like something that it is silly for the kids as well when they keep saying like, oh, keep your heads up. Why? Why? Well, because if you can see the whole case scenario happen in front of you, you might think one step ahead, and then you know like what you're gonna do. If you have like the ball on your feet and then okay, you look up, oh, they're coming, so you're gonna have some action. So focus on those simple details, like hey, keep your heads up. Try to stick with the ball. Try to use the opposite way. Use the left and right for like all the time, and then
I think that is a good point for players who maybe get anxiety before the game. They're getting really, really nervous. They're thinking, okay, what if I lose the ball? What if I do this? What if I do that? It's like, just focus on get that first pass.
But getting nervous is also part of the game. This is important.
Course.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I used to. I still miss that adrenaline of getting nervous or getting the play. So I keep telling to the kids, guys, this is so cool.
I think that's a good point. Love the nerves.
Yeah, love the nerves. And oh my gosh, because like after 5 minutes playing, you don't get that nervous anymore.
Yeah, it's just
seriously, you
it's
don't.
Before the game.
It's just like before the game, when you started, the first pass, as you said, the first pass, you're kind of like, oh, they're coming. Well, but if you nail the first pass, you make the easy one, the confidence will come like quickly, and then once you realize, you're like, hey, pass. Because in the beginning, you're kind of like, I don't want the pass, I don't want the...
You don't want to be the first one to mess up, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you're kind of comfortable, like, yes. Yeah. You're afraid, and then later on, you're like, yes, go, quickly.
There's a great saying from a coach that I had. He was a New Zealand national coach, like assistant national coach, and he would say, when we'd have big games or with even small games, he'd look us all in the eyes, and he was an old school coach, so he'd go around the change rooms and he'd be like, straight in your eyes, and he'd be like, pressure is a privilege. Pressure is a privilege, meaning that you get to wear this badge, right? You get to put that badge on your chest. You get to lace up your cleats, your boots, whatever you want to call them. And you get to play. What happens in that kid that can't play? It's a privilege to be wearing that badge. It's a privilege to be playing for that club. So enjoy it and take those nerves in and go and play the best game of your life, because it's a privilege. Kids, never forget it. Pressure is a privilege.
This is Monday mentality, by the way. We're going to use that one.
We need to clip that.
Of course, I'm going to take that one.
Says,
I was just waiting for him to finish to say, we're going to use that next Monday motivation, Monday mentality. There you go, AJ, part of the team.
It's a great point, and I think that might actually help some kids, is where, I'm getting nervous, but okay, I've maybe got a teammate, or I know someone who's injured and can't even play. Well, exactly, that's a privilege. I can play today rather than being injured, and having gratitude. Hey, look, I can play. Let me play football. Let me play the game I love. And I think, and like you said too, is trying to come to terms with loving those nerves and accepting those nerves and thinking it's just a part of it. I know that in 5 minutes, as soon as the game starts, I'm going to forget about those nerves.
Because, sorry to cut you in, it's just a matter of, like, for example, if everyone would come to you and say, hey, Jay, can you tell me like a really funny story? Well, the funny story is something wrong that happened with you. Yeah. It's something that just came, that was totally wrong. That was something that happened with me in the day. So when you talk about like hey, can you tell me like about your career? And then you oh my gosh, I remember like, for example, getting a huge, like the stadium was full of people, like totally crowded. I was looking, I was so nervous. Well, the story's going to come through those points, like the nerves point. Not like, hey, I remember like 15 minutes of the first period, I just did like a really nice pass, 1 meter in front of me. No, you're not going to remember those moments. You're going to remember like the other ones.
When you do get nervous.
And then when you come to the kid to explain, hey, how you to settle down or something like that, is because you leave that moment. You leave that moment under pressure. So you know how to come to the kid and say, hey, I understand you. I understand where you're coming from. So slow down. That's it. Blah, blah, blah. So we kind of learn with our own mistakes. We learn with the pressure. We learn with... Of course, we also learn with the easy ways too. But that kind of moment is like, we just make like kind of like, I know it sounds corny or weird, but like, it's a kind of like the way you make the history for yourself as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, how was it? Oh my gosh, guys, I was so nervous. I remember like every time I'm working something different, when you go to the job interview, you get nervous. But once you get it, you
so we've been speaking about pressure, and you mentioned, I did want to ask you, how do you deal with pressure? Is there any sort of, rituals that you have, or what sort of things you do?
If I'm really nervous before a game and I'm like, my nerves are getting the better of me, I just sit there and go to a quiet place in the change rooms or with my headphones in and just take a few deep breaths and again remind myself that pressure is a privilege. I'm here for a reason. I'm here because the coach believes in me, my teammates believe in me, and I believe in what I'm doing. I trust that my practice and the trainings that I've been going through, that I'm here for a reason. I'm here because I'm meant to be here. And if it's like nerves where it's like, wow, like just say for instance, like I've had in the past, I've had big coaches that are very much like big figures in the game and going to make decisions on me for maybe a trial or a contract. I often say to myself, I picked this game didn't pick me, so enjoy what I'm doing. I picked it. I picked to play football. I picked it. Football didn't pick me. I picked to play football. So enjoy it, enjoy the moment, and be grateful for where you're at. So that would be my only advice to young kids and to older kids, whoever watches this, is just remind yourself when you're feeling nervous, take a few deep breaths and remind and go over however many times you need to do it, 10, 20 times before you kick off. Keep telling yourself, it's okay. Pressure is a privilege. I picked this game and I believe I'm meant to be here.
Awesome.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's what happened with you. You had a passion of playing soccer, and now you have a passion of being Mr. Soccer Life Master.
Exactly.
So, like, mom and dad, son, kids, and everything, you cannot replace it. But the rest, yes, you can. It's going to be painful sometimes, but yeah, you're definitely going to find out, like, a different passion or something that you can move to a different perspective. Now kids look to you and say, I want to be like Kyle.
What I would say about pressure and dealing with it is like you mentioned, how you've done the practice. You know, there's nothing else I can do. You know, I'm at the game. There's no much, I can't think about, you know, it doesn't matter how much I think, I'm still going to play. You know, play your game, you've practiced, give yourself the permission to just play football, to enjoy the game, rather than overthinking, am I going to mess up? Am I going to score? You know, am I the coach going to scream at you? You've done the practice. Have you prepared? If you prepared, there's nothing else you can do. You've prepared. You've done everything you can.
Exactly, and guys, like, you have to remember, like, if you go into a game, you go into a practice, you go into anything in life thinking, oh, I'm not going to mess up, or you will mess up. It's a fact. It's a fact that you're going to mess up. You're going to give the ball away. You're going to maybe not have a great training session, maybe not have a great game. It's a fact of life that will happen sometime in your career. It's how you deal with it. It's how you say to yourself, you know what? It's all right. Forget about it. Forget about it. I used to say to Kyle, actually, I remember when we played together, and I used to say to him, if he messed up, he used to get really worked up. And even myself, I used to say, you can't rewind time. Because if we could rewind time, we'd all be playing for Man United. We'd all be playing for Chelsea. We'd all be playing for Real Madrid. I always used to say this, and it's something that I'll consistently say to myself when I'm playing. If I mess up or make a bad pass, okay, it's gone. Don't worry about it, it's gone. It's gone. And I just always said that to myself. So I think that will...
They do say the best athletes have the worst memory, so they forget about their mistakes straight away. And also, I like to say, if you play the worst game in the world, you're still going to wake up tomorrow. You're still alive. You're still going to have another training session. You're still going to have another game. You could play you could not make a single good pass. Doesn't matter. You're still going to have another game, another training session.
You're going to have the chance to maybe mess up again, or maybe just learn from it. Yeah. We
got 2 minutes before we're going to get kicked off from Zoom. So, is there anything that you want to share about whether it's your social media or whatever, or you just want to anything you want to say? Final last words. Off camera, we spoke about maybe doing something with AJ in the US. So drop a comment or message us if you'd like to see something happening, or if you'd just like to see AJ back on the podcast. But dude, thank you so much for coming on. You've been an absolute legend. I'm sure we're going to get some good clips out of this, and I'm sure people are going to be saying, hey, look, we want to learn more from AJ. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much again. It was really nice to meet you. Yay! It was really, really cool. But come on, man, you should have talked to us now with American accent, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
We're about to get kicked off Zoom though, so we better go.
I just can't do that, bro. I just can't do that.
Yeah, see that.
I can't do that.
Cool. Awesome.
Legend,
Good night,
man.
mate. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much, guys.
Ciao, bro.
Appreciate it to you,
Bye.
mate. Later.
See you, dude.